Hey guys, it's Brad. A lot of you don't know who I am, but I was in the 628 gameplay and have been playing with Atrocity for quite some time now. Apologies if my mic quality isn't the best. I'm not really set up for this, but the video needs to be done. This is going to be a more serious video, but I really want you guys to stay through till the end and watch the entire video, as there is a lot to go over. I'm here to hopefully clear up some of the accusations from the 628 gameplay and talk about some of the aspects that were either left out or blatantly lied about in the original exposed video, and then multiple videos uploaded by the other YouTubers you may have seen. I'm going to start by asking everybody to be open-minded to the situation and come in fresh without any preconceived notion of what your favorite YouTuber thinks or has said in a previous video. I'll be addressing some of the direct quotes taken from the original video, then talk briefly about some of the other accusations made by other YouTubers, and finally leave you guys off with an overview of all the misconstrued information that has been thrown out there in an attempt to garner more views and publicity. To start it off, the first quote in the guy's video, he mentions that we used 4 dyers. I use quotations on this because the entire video and many of the accusations are surrounded around an individual player, specifically the paper player on the other team. He talks about how the entire game this individual is looking up at the sky and shooting, however he only shows one example of this and then tries to cross-apply this to the other enemy players as if they are all just running around acting like this, which is simply not true. It is evident this player's controller is messed up in the sense that the stick consistently moves up towards the sky. Even when he is going AFK it moves up, and when he runs you can slowly see that the camera is moving upward as the player readjusted to try to move it back downward to eye level. The player is in no way intentionally running around looking at the sky. He then wants to go on about how the player is consistently hip firing as if that somehow 100% proves that he's a dyer. So we've lowered the standard for exposing gameplays from having enemies added on your friends list to them simply hip firing. When he fails to mention how these players were going AFK and hip firing in previous games, which we will get into later, but keep that in mind for now. He then proceeds to talk about how 2 out of the 4 accounts he looked up are quote unquote deleted. I cannot emphasize this enough. Xbox Live accounts cannot be deleted, and even when looking up the old GT to a newly changed GT account, the new account will still come up unless the old GT is taken, which is apparently not the case as the 2 accounts did not come up at all. One thing to note is that he did misspell one of the account's information, and the other and final one in question we simply cannot explain. I don't work for Microsoft and I'm not sure why the account is not coming up, but why would we go out of our way to hide some of the accounts and not others? Again, just another argument that fails to mention any sort of aspect on our side of the story. He then goes on to talk about how the dyers are running around shooting at the floor. This is just a blatant lie on his behalf. No one did this, and the one person he continues to go back to, the paper person, is looking at the sky AFK occasionally. Again, no one is running around shooting at the floor. He is just cross-applying this blatant lie he is drawing from the paper player's actions. One thing to also note is that why would we ask them to shoot when we have a constant V setup for 90% of the game? Again, blatantly lying to misrepresent the gameplay for something that it is not. He then goes on to talk about how even terrible players can get kills, when they evidently did get kills on us. In fact, our team dropped combined over 100 deaths, with players on the other team dropping over 30 kills and one person even dropping 48. These quote-unquote terrible players did in fact get quite a few kills on us. Next he asks why they aren't using EMP if they are just using the default classes. The only default class with EMPs is the Argus class, which a majority of people never switch to ever in our traps and never have. The reason being is that most bad players aren't asking themselves how to counteract a trap, just to simply get out of it and kill the main slayer. That's it. Again, he misrepresents the gameplay in his next snippet, saying that they are all just sitting AFK in the spawn, and he only shows 2 people sitting still for 3 seconds. Then when they start to move, he quickly cuts away and generalizes the entire team as AFKers in the spawn. He does this a lot throughout the video. He will show a snippet of one player having an AFK moment or a pre-kill reloading, and proceeds to generalize all players on the other team as doing the same thing. Again, blatantly lying to the audience. He spends a lot of time on the next part of the actual gameplay, which he focuses on a specific player who dies in the trap and spawns on left outer mid spawn next to garage, then runs back to heavy and supposedly dies for Atrocity. This is just again misrepresenting what is going on in a way that appears to be an open close scene. This is just simply not the case. What is going on here is the person watching outer spawn, me, ran out of ammo and called it out. The enemy then turns around trying to kill the main slayer. Very common in trapping, and when he gets there he's picked off by a floater. Furthermore, you can literally see Atrocity strafing left as he approaches him to prevent him from getting caught off guard, and he takes 2 shots which he misses, then dies before getting any more. This all happened in under a second, yet the person claims that he had plenty of time to kill Atrocity, again, misrepresenting the facts. It is then shown part of a gameplay where a person with the Drakon runs up to a corner and shoots 3 times before dying. Keep in mind this is the only part of the video where he shows this person's perspective, because again, he is only showing you what he wants you to see. He continues to do this throughout the video, only focusing on some suspicious moves, but never the actual kills or anything these people did, aside from going AFK occasionally and taking some random shots here and there. The final part of the actual gameplay, he comments how Putang is only dropping like 11 kills with a huge amount of deaths. This is again just another lie. Putang ended the game with a low amount of 30 kills, and it's very normal for people to drop 200 deaths in any trap. The majority of the trapping gameplays that we have contain multiple people on the other team with over 200 deaths. This is nothing special. The next part of the video he wants to show us is in the theater of these 2 accounts he was able to look up, which is ironic as again, he focuses on the good snippets of these gameplays, but doesn't talk about the deaths or the hipfire kills they got. But let's proceed anyways. He begins by showing the gameplay of Putang apparently jump shotting every kill and saying that he suddenly has gun skill, but he doesn't mention how he got a jump shot triple kill hip firing us at the beginning of the first round of the 628 gameplay. Again, he's only showing you what he wants you to see. He also doesn't dwell on the fact that Putang was occasionally going AFK in that gameplay as well, and half of his kills towards the end of the game were literally hip fire kills. But when he does this in our lobby, he is all of a sudden a dyer. One thing that should also go noticed is he drops more kills in our game than he did in his normal game against randoms, but he's again a dyer somehow. He then goes on to ask how someone could get a 5 KD when playing, then go to a negative 100 KD. This is just terrible reasoning. If I play against Scumpy or Crim6, I'm not going to go positive, but that doesn't mean I'm going to go negative every game. Likewise, just because this kid drops a 5 KD against randoms, doesn't mean he's going to waltz into our lobby and drop a 5 KD. Plenty of good people we still play at the end of the day get trapped, and if they stay, they will drop over 100 deaths. That's because we are good at what we do. He then goes on to show the Curdled player in a public game and fails to note how this player literally goes AFK for a half minute just sitting there. But again, when this player does it in our game, he's a verified dyer. He goes on to show some clips of apparent jump shotting and fast forwards the rest of the gameplay of this player going 24 and 26. But again, he assumes this somehow justifies the accusation that this player ought to have gone 24 and 26 against us. Surely he should have. Again, this is just a completely illogical argument, and it's funny how he focuses on the first part jump shotting, but doesn't show the rest of the game of him getting destroyed by randoms. It's worth noting before moving on to the next portion of the video that every other exposed video has just referenced the original video and assumed it is 100% fact, which is just not the case. I'll now get into arguments that every exposed video failed to bring up because they render all the accusations useless and opinionated. There is one argument a YouTuber brought up that asked why we waited to upload though, and I want to say that this is simply due to going to PAX and trying to get the video promoted pre-upload and build a lot of hype for it from other YouTubers. All of the videos and many people claiming that we just invited dyers and hopped into a public match and got a 600 plus failed to note that you literally cannot invite anyone into the pregame lobby if you already have a team of 6. No one connected mid-game, meaning that these people were all in the pregame lobby. This patch was a patch a couple months ago from Treyarch to literally prevent boosting. For a majority of the community, most all people on Twitter understand this fact, but it has been left out of the YouTube for the sole reason that these YouTubers want this gameplay to be fake so that they can milk it for views. Nothing more, and they will therefore leave out necessary evidence that brings it into question the legitimacy of these claims. It is not a question of whether we invited dyers or not at this point, as it is proven that it is indeed impossible. It is more so at this point an accusation that if you believe we intentionally faked the gameplay, which understand we do not agree is fake at all, we will get into right now. If we intentionally faked the gameplay, there are a couple things off with this accusation. The first being that the players are split into a team of 3, 2, and 1. Why would we split the enemies up if we are trying to get them to all connect, assuming that they even can? It then becomes a question of even if they did all connect, then it's fake, right? The issue really with this argument is that there's no way to prove or disprove this. We cannot prove to anyone that we didn't tell these people to lobby serve for us. Likewise, no one can prove that we did ask them to lobby serve for us. And this is the only argument they can make to say that the 628 is fake. The same can be said for any other gameplay on YouTube, and there is nothing that YouTuber can say to defend it because it's not possible. Therefore, that argument should not be weighted when looking into the legitimacy of this gameplay. Now, the other side of the coin is people believing that we didn't know and random people connected and recognized us and died. I'm going to start by saying that we were appearing offline, we weren't streaming, and did not tweet anything about going for the record that day. Therefore, there is no remote possibility that anyone specifically lobby searched for us in hopes of finding and dying for us when they didn't know when or what game mode we were even playing. The only thing left would be that them finding us by chance and recognizing us. Now let's say that they were fans and did recognize us and die. Do you not think that random fans who are in a gameplay of this magnitude and widely publicly noted and promoted by other popular YouTubers would not come out for the publicity? The fact is they haven't came out yet because they don't exist. These were random players who got into a game with us, messed around, and got trapped for a world record. To recap, we could not have invited them. Asking them to intentionally lobby surf for us cannot be proven or disproven, and randoms recognizing us and dying for us, then proceeding to not come out about it for the publicity is simply illogical. All the circumstances under which these people got into our game are completely left out of these exposed videos because they completely and utterly raise all kinds of red flags to the claims that are being made. I want to end with just two more things. Atrocity has been trapping and playing since Call of Duty 4. A lot of these YouTubers are making it out to be that Atrocity is some person who's faking gameplays all the time, when realistically Atrocity has records dating back to when he first started playing, and none of which have been disputed. The reason it is being brought to all of your attention now is because the toxicity that comes with being a Call of Duty YouTuber in today's day and age, in which many will snoop to new lows to maximize the amount of views they receive, regardless of friendships or reputation. All past records that have been exposed were very popular on YouTube and had 100% proof that the people faked it. The only thing these people are going off of is random snippets of people going AFK and occasionally hip firing for a majority of their kills, and all for the popularity that surrounded exposing gameplays. Since when does this become the standard of exposing gameplays? The issue is that people are hungry for views and hungry for drama because it gets the publicity they live for. All we were asking for is to not feed into their personal agenda and view the gameplay for what it really is, a world record with zero irrefutable evidence of dyers.